Good morning YouTube and welcome back to the channel, and on today's video the update and plans for 2022. So firstly, apologies for the lack of updates. I really wanted to smash December, like big plans, and then at the beginning I caught what I initially thought was COVID, but was just like the worst flu of my life. If you can hear in the video, I'm still a bit bunged up now 3 weeks later. So yeah, not a great start to December, but hope you all had a lovely Christmas. And like I say, in today's video, we'll go through the 2022 plans. So as I know, there are a lot of you that watch the channel for different reasons, some into the cars, the BMWs, some into the Renaults, some into the bikes, and some into the road trip. So right now I'm going to overlay some time points for you to sort of skip. So if you're not interested in hearing me waffle about the cars, you just want to see the bike stuff, hopefully this overlay will give you an idea of where you need to skip to in the video. But otherwise, if you're in for the full run, hope you enjoy. So I'm going to start with probably a bit of a car bike waffle. I mean, this last year, car and bike prices, anything classic, have just gone through the roof. I mean, is it because everything is now forced induction and people are still clinging on to that naturally aspirated? Is it because of the supply shortage that's coming on with new cars? I mean, there are so many factors the last year that I've seen the bikes and the cars, especially sort of 1990s right up to 2010, maybe breaking into 2015, prices have just gone through the roof. Now, people like myself who've got the e46 and the e92 M3, that's great because you bought the car, I've enjoyed the car, and they've both gone up a lot more than what I paid for them. We won't talk about the modifications. But as I said, in terms of actual base price of the vehicle, it's been a mental year. I mean, it's funny because for those that know me from before the BMW scene or even the bike scene, I was massively into my Renault Sports. And I used to own Phase 1 172s because they were £500 cars. I used to drive them out to the French Alps. If they got back, brilliant. If they didn't, good fun, good cheap fun. Now, a good Phase 1 172, £5,000. It was the ugly duckling. Back when I was driving, no one wanted them. But as I say, like all things, the more time goes on, the more you appreciate them. And I do really like a Phase 1 now. But God, just like with the Cup that I've got, like, are they worth that money? I mean, part of you says, no, not a chance for what you were paying for them. But on the flip side, if a new, I don't know, new Fiesta now costs, what, £18,000? All of a sudden £5,000 for some hot hatch fun doesn't actually seem that bad. So yeah, crazy year with the used car and bike prices. And I say I didn't even really touch on the bikes, but I'll come back to that with my RS250 in a little while. So guys, this one, I kind of want some input from the crowd. I mean, I'm pretty set on what I'm going to do, but it's always good to hear other opinions. So I won't go into the long haul of it, but basically I'm selling a property and it's going to free up some equity for me. Now, the dream car for me has always been the Ferrari 458 Italia. Like, don't get me wrong, the Speciale would be beautiful, but they are like hero cars that I could realistically never see me owning. And things may line up, I mean, it'll be one hell of a push. I would have to downsize the fleet, but I feel like I need to tick it off the list before none of us can drive any of this sort of cool stuff anymore. Or, I mean, the worst thing is at the moment I'm watching these YouTube videos and everyone's like, the 458 is the car to buy at the moment. I'm like, shh, don't say that. I don't need it to go up anymore. But it'd be good news if I did buy one and it obviously went up. Now, it wouldn't be a car that I'd be modifying. I wouldn't be ragging it around. It would just be the odd Sunday drive out, keep it stored up, keep the mileage, because it would be an investment. It'd be a crazy amount of money. I mean, looking now at probably entering at 110, 120,000, right up to 150,000, I would definitely be at the lower end of the market. And the thing is I've watched a lot of reviews and there aren't actually that many great ones out there from what I've seen. And I think I need the carbon like fixed seats because of the seat height. Those of you know I'm a seat snob. I love good seats. So yeah, what do you reckon? Go balls to the walls, put myself into like potential Italian suicide with that sort of ownership. If something goes wrong, my God, that would be disastrous. But it'd be cool for a couple of years and I could tick it off the list and say I've done it. Now, the intelligent hat says go and buy a Lotus Exige 380 Cup. It's going to be half the price. It's going to let me actually go out and enjoy it, drive it, but I don't know, I'm not a brand snob. I don't want to put the keys down on the bar and say I've got it. I just think as a petrol head, to say you've owned a Ferrari will be pretty cool. So yeah, what do you think, guys? Shall I do it? Shall I downsize the fleet a little bit? Bit of a financial suicide move if we do have a recession and they drop in price. I don't know. So yeah, we shall see. 2022 could be an exciting year for the channel, but like I say, I'm not really going to be modifying it. It'll just be a wide boy from Staines driving around in a car that he's got no kids, and that's the way he's managed to do it. So yeah, might be a new one for the channel. So on to the bike front. Well, back in 2014, I sat on then the latest Yamaha R1. I've got a picture of me at the bike show that Matt kindly took, and I said to him, one day I will own one of these. So obviously if the Ferrari dream happens, not a chance. But if that doesn't go ahead, I either want to try and pick up an R1M this year or the Kenny Roberts edition R1. And the R1M makes more sense, having the Olins and all that, cross-plane crank with the Akrapovic exhaust. They just sound absolutely beautiful. So that'd be cool to add to the collection. Again, I'd probably have to juggle around some stuff because space is tight, but it is one I do want to tick off the list before obviously things like children and settling down properly. Like I say, at the moment, Dani is very, very understanding, but I can imagine in years to come that may change. Road trips for 2022. Well, I love these. Those that have seen the Euro trip or the North Coast 500 trip, I've had such a good time touring in the e46 M3, but this year is going to be slightly different. So the initial plan for around April, May time, weather obviously pending and the whole where we are with COVID, is to actually get over to the Nürburgring on a bike. Now, I had thought about taking the RC8. I thought, do you know what? I should just take the GSXR, the 600 K6, for two reasons. One, I've done the most amount of time on it. I'm the most comfortable with that bike. And it's not ferociously powerful. 600, you can get away with really, really pushing on it. I'm not saying there isn't risks involved because it's still a quick bike, something that's capable of 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. So it's by no means slow. But also, if it does go wrong, touch wood, it doesn't, it's half the value of the RC8. So it kind of makes sense to do that. It's a lot more forgiving to ride. It's a lot less value. So man, I'm going to try and get Sanj to get back on two wheels, and I do want to do a road trip over to Nürburgring, including riding there, which is like 350 miles on a bike. So we'll obviously do it over a couple of days, but I'll bring the cameras, we'll film the whole event and give you guys an insight on what it's like to ride to the Nürburgring, ride around it, and hopefully ride back home. So again, continuing on with the road trips, I do want to do another Euro road trip. Oh, man, I think, especially with the carbon plenum, and I haven't done it in the V8 yet, I will take the e92 M3. And the plan is to go down to Santander in Spain, try and get across to the mountains that way. I mean, I've had a quick look at some routes, and then try and get back over to Germany's Black Mountains, which is what we missed on the last Euro trip because I overshot the time playing around on some of the passes. So that's the plan for the e92. Get it ready, do the actuators, which I'll come back to in the later in the video with the e92 update. But ultimately, another Euro trip in one of the M cars is definitely on the cards for 2022. Finally, I mean, obviously these trips could be added throughout the year, but as it stands currently, I would love to do Portimao track. I mean, I've seen some of the no limits things where you can drop your bike off in Swindon. They'll ship it out with all your spare tyres and tools or whatever you want to bring, and you simply fly over there, rent a car, stay at a B&B for a few nights and 3 or 4 days of absolutely bliss track sunshine. Now, I would have to do it towards the end of the year because I think it's 25 degrees plus in their colder times and 40 in the summer. So I definitely won't be going there in the summer. But sort of maybe something for November time, get the bike shipped out there. I think that'd be pretty cool. It looks like an absolutely awesome circuit. So yeah, definitely want to try and do a European bike trip where I ship it out to a track day. And from what I've been told, no noise limits. So it doesn't matter which bike I take, the RC8, the GSXR, that should all fly through, which is great news. So yeah, that should be pretty exciting for this year coming. New technology for the channel. Well, bought the drone last year. That was sort of its 2021 party trick for the channel. I haven't really put a lot of equipment in other than a GoPro 9. Would like a Hero 10, but the more time's going on, I'm like, I don't know, I think GoPro are losing the edge. I genuinely do. They used to be the go-to camera, but some serious competition out there now. It's always making that change. But what I will be buying, hopefully in January, when this comes back in stock, is DJI have now released a new audio microphone setup. So hopefully we can finally say goodbye to any teething issues I've had in the past. Those that followed the channel from the beginning know the audio has been my weak point. I've tried different things, different processes. always struggle with it. But this new kit from DJI gives you 2 microphones, a transponder that goes on your phone, your GoPro, and it's supposed to do all the audio, and if it loses signal, it backs it up onto the actual mic itself, so you can back it all up on the computer. So hopefully any audio teething issues will be a thing of the past for when I get that next year. So yeah, that's the only real thing I can see me adding at the moment. Maybe a new iPhone. I'm on the old iPhone 11 Pro now. Matt's got the iPhone 13 Pro. It's really good, and it's incredible what you can do with a phone now. So yeah, technology wise, definitely going to get the DJI mic, but probably not a lot's going to change. I know a few of you have asked for a video on what equipment I use and what techniques I use, so that is coming for 2022 as well. Something that I do want to get on the road for 2022 is subscribers' rides, your guys' vehicles. I've had so many of you messaging saying, this is what I've built, this is what I've done, and I've seen some really cool stuff when I've been at the car meets. People said, yeah, I'd love to get it on the channel. So that is in the pipeline for 2022 as well. So this year, it's just been a bit of a funny one, really. I don't think I've really been feeling the channel with everything that's been going on. But stay tuned, we will have some pretty awesome stuff, which is already in the pipeline to be appearing. Something that I have considered is looking at a unit or some sort of barn to keep all the vehicles, because at the moment I've got them scattered all over the place. It's really difficult working on the driveway with the British weather and stuff getting everywhere. It'd be nice to have a workshop, but the problem is I don't want to lease a proper unit where I've got to pay business rates and it ends up, especially around here near London, costing me £1,500 a month just to keep a few toys and tinkering. So maybe look at something a little bit in the outskirts, maybe some sort of barn where you sort of get away from the business rates, because it's not going to be a business where I'm trading. It is literally just for me tinkering. So if you guys have got any input, maybe more back out towards the Cotswolds way, because it'd be nice just to have one vehicle here, all the vehicles out there, and then when I want to go for a blast or a weekend of tinkering, it's all just in one place, which would be nice. So yeah, that, because I didn't get the garage built with everything like I mentioned, with building materials going through the roof, I'm always going to have a bit of an issue with space getting stuff down the side of the house, especially anything bigger than the e46. That, I don't know, maybe it is worth looking at getting a little unit and just having it all tucked away, so that when I do, like I say, want to go for a little weekend of tinkering, I can just spend a few hours down in the unit, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, that's probably a bit of a pipeline dream, because I don't like the idea of just huge continuous expense, but it is definitely something I want to try and look into this year. Matt's Clio 200 Silverstone edition. So for those of you who watched the review we did on his white one, it went down a storm. You guys loved it. Thank you for the support. I think for a while it was ranking at the top Clio 200 review video, which is awesome. So he's now sold that, had a few cars in between, and he is back in a 200, and this time it's the GP edition, the Silverstone edition. So special edition car, had a few light tweaks to it, nothing really. Some really nice wheels he's put on it that are very similar to a Speedline Turini. It's got the Akrapovic exhaust system, and ultimately we are toying with taking it to Engine Dynamics to go with the cam drop-in packages. It does need a cam belt next year. Math says maybe we should do the cam belt, get the map done as well, drop some cams in there and see if we can push it past that 210 mark. I don't know, like Renault love quoting figures with numbers. Most of the time they do not deliver that, but it'd be pretty cool to gain 10, maybe 15 horsepower with some upgrades on it. And like I say, we then got to do the point of view video as well. I know they went down well with the e46 and the e92 in Mexico, so need to do that with a 200 as well when the weather finally allows, as it has been wet and windy this Christmas period. On to the project cars. So e46 M3, probably the most popular one on the channel. It is the most popular one on the channel. Always had a close place to my heart. Now, unfortunately, I broke it last year. Those that watched the point of view video, some of you actually picked up in the comments saying on a few of the passes it sounded like I wasn't shifting an S6. I was, but unfortunately I was changing gear and I was getting a delay, and then it was going in and I got no lights at the time. It was really odd and I couldn't really work it out. So I said to Matt, get back in the car, I don't think something's right, we need to drop this back off. And then literally driving back home, yellow cog of doom come on, and it was just really struggling to go between, I think it was 2nd and 3rd and 5th and 6th. I think it was a few months ago now since I've driven it, and posted up on the M3 Owners Club, good lads on there as always, and I said, yeah, likely a detent spring, so it's 2 little springs in the gearbox. When they snap, it struggles for getting gear alignment, so pretty common for them to go around 100,000 miles. I'm on 93,000 miles now, so cheap part, just an absolute pig to fit, but that's going to be something I'm going to need to look into very soon, because obviously I do want the car mobile again. The other issue with the E46 is the starter motor starting to play up. When I went and did the caffeine and machine video, I was turning the key on, it was clicking, wasn't doing anything, turn it on, and on the second or third try it would fire. So it sounds like a sticky solenoid. I took it out, couldn't really service it, to be honest with you, so I put it back in and thought, yeah, that's going to have to be an exchange unit on the winter. So I do need to do that as well, probably in the next coming weeks. Never good when it's cold outside, but it is a driveway job. It is a little bitch to get the bolts on the back, because I did it from the top, obviously not having a ramp, but it is doable on the driveway. So we'll get another one ordered and obviously get that exchanged. Whilst that's apart, I do want to fit new engine mounts. As far as I'm aware, mine are the originals, 92,000 miles or 93,000, somewhere around there. And I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to go with the Powerflex units. Not that there was anything wrong with the standard ones, but because it is a weekend toy, I don't want it like the Clio where the dash rattles and everything with the Vibratechnics mounts. But no, Powerflex do a nice one that's actually got adjustable stiffness on it. So you can obviously have it more hardcore, or you can back it off if you are using it as a road car. Even in its softer setting, I think it's something like 15% stiffer than the original. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the softest setting on a brand new set of the Powerflex ones. Try it out, maybe go stiffer, but like I say, it should give a nice direct drive feel to the car, especially as I've done all the other bushes in Powerflex as well. Finally, for the E46 M3, for those that followed when we did the Öhlins coilovers, man, I wanted to get to Anglesey on track. It was booked, it was paid for, it was happening, but unfortunately the day I had chosen was 2 days out of sync with Wales coming out of lockdown, so we couldn't do the Anglesey circuit. They refunded me the money. Fair enough. Problem was, summer track days were 3 or 4 times the price. I sort of lost interest in the idea of it, to be honest with you. So do need to look at booking Anglesey again in the E46. That would be pretty cool. So that's definitely on the horizon for 2022. Maybe look this week, actually. Little late Christmas present to myself. See if we can get the track day booked. But I should really get the car fixed first. The BMW e92 M3. Man, the slow burner. The one that has really won me over. Unfortunately, decided to let me down this year. Out in the car, went out for Christmas dinner with my nan, started it, car fired on the button, 5 seconds later switched off. I was like, that's weird. Started it up again, absolutely fine. Problem got worse, fault lights all over the place, thought it was the idle control valve, thought it was the actuators. Actually turned out to be a brake vacuum sensor that was causing the car to stall. Not unique problem, seems to be really common at the moment looking online, so thankfully that's all sorted. There's nothing worse than your daily driver being broken, especially in the winter, because in the summer I just get the push bike out. I don't mind doing a few miles on it, keep up the cardio, but winter time, disaster. So that's all sorted, thankfully. A few bits for this year really. Gonna do under tray at some point, one of the 2mm sheet alley ones, because my fabric one is falling apart, catching it on bumps and stuff. I've still got a little surprise which I can't let you guys into yet, because I'm waiting for an update from the supplier, but something pretty cool for the E92 M3 come in. Still want to do the M4 brakes, still want to do the KW has kit, because obviously the electronic damping, I want to keep the stock dampers with just like a little bit lower, and if I do the M4 brakes it raises the height on the front slightly. So yeah, potentially this year could see quite a change for the E92 M3, which would be cool. So the Clio 172 Cup, been pretty quiet this year, unfortunately. Like I said, a lot of other projects on the go, and it just worked. So I've just left it tucked away. But don't worry, next year it will be coming out for some Cotswolds drives, and I have actually got a video on it with some plans coming up. So it will be on the road early next year. Get out for some blasting in the little hot hatch for a few weeks, especially like I say before it gets too hot, because I've got no air conditioning, but that will be making a show again on the channel. The Honda S2000, well man, like that project came along quickly. Like I was impressed with myself, if I'm honest, with how fast I managed to turn that around and get it looking half decent. The problem was it's at that point now where I took it out. I did enjoy it. I genuinely did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it enough for me to think it's worth keeping, or it replaces the Clio, or it replaces one of the M3s. Not at all. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm not using it. I'm really struggling with the space. I'll put it up for sale. So I put it up for sale. It was actually one of the cheapest in the UK. Had a few people come and look at it. Unfortunately, because it being a single seater, no roof, for a lot of people, they were like, it's just not the sort of car you could daily, which I completely get. I never marketed it that. And then a chap got in touch, said he really liked the car, wanted to put a deposit on it, put a deposit on it. Unfortunately, it all just fell apart. So the S2000 is still here. Yes, it's roadworthy, it can be used on the road, but I'm at that point where I do want to do the bushes, I'd like to drop the subframe out of it, and that is just not a job for the floor. Like, that is a ramp job, and this goes back to the whole, if I get a unit, it would make a lot more sense to do jobs like that. I can make better videos for you guys, but at the moment I'm just like, I've got no interest in trying to push or burn out old bushes on the driveway, drop the subframe on the driveway and just have it paralysed there. So that, I'm going to be completely honest, considering it didn't do too well on the channel either, it's probably not going to see a lot of action this year. It may even go back up for sale. I don't know, prices are going mental. Do I just tuck it away and come back to it in a couple of years and be like, oh yeah, it's like an old E-Type Jag, it's worth 20 grand now. I don't know. But yeah, that's not going to do a lot. So for those of you that subscribe for S2000 content, I'll just be completely level with you. I'll be surprised if I do anything on it this year. So my missus's car, the BMW M240i. Well, I should have really pulled my finger out on that because I said I'd do it for her. So essentially, we love the car. It's a brilliant little car. We went to Cornwall in it, and you know, it was absolutely faultless. It's a good size. The B58 engine's a little trooper, and it always, whenever you walk up to it, you could very easily confuse it for just a normal 2 Series, because other than the wheels, I mean, the wheels aren't even that aggressive looking. It doesn't really stand out as a performance hot car, so to speak. So we always had this plan of making it like a baby e92 M3. I've got most of it. So from Matt's M2, we've got the grills, we've got the spoiler, I've got the M3 style mirror caps. There were some other bits as well. I can't remember what they are, but we're going to do that this year. And the biggest hold up, before you all blame me for not doing it, is actually I've been waiting for CM Wheels to get the M359s in an 18-inch in black in the staggered setup. They were supposed to be here this side of Christmas. I inquired in September. They're now telling me it's probably going to be January. So as soon as we've got the wheels, I reckon, famous last words, I could knock that out in a day. I reckon I could do the springs, wheels, tyres, grills and tracking if I got up early doors, and it would look like a different car. It genuinely will look like a different car. Now, it's still on an old set of Super Sport tyres, so I can't wait to get those off because they are tired. You can really feel it on the road. Get some Michelin 4s on there. I mean, she doesn't track the car. She doesn't drive it very hard, so I don't really think the 4S is justified. But I think when it's finished, it will look pretty cool. Still deciding on whether to put splitter on it, maybe diffuser. Still got to decide what to do with the exhaust. To be honest with you, new tips and a modified back box. It's got a nice note anyway. I think the B58 makes a good sound. And to be honest with you, I've got no interest in mapping it. Like I say, she doesn't drive it hard enough. And even when I take it out, I think, do you know what? This is a good balance. It's a nice balance of power. We're not straining the turbo or anything. And we can't have it being faster than the E92 M3. So, going to keep the standard map. Again, that may change. She may want more power, but to be honest with you, I can't see it happening. So yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Hopefully that'll be probably by March. I would have thought that video would be up before that done. If the wheels are in stock, get the new tyres on, and yeah, looking forward to actually making it look like a little baby M car. So I said goodbye to the Aprilia RS250 this year. Now moving on to the bikes, it was one of those things. I love looking at it. I love starting it up and listening to it, and I loved it when I was on the power band screaming down some roads. Genuinely loved it, but for the rest of the time, going anywhere on it was hard work. If you left it with fuel in it for weeks on end, it would have trouble starting. It always liked having the carbs cleaned and drained if you weren't using the bike for a couple of weeks. And I just got to the point where I was looking at it and thinking, it's cool, and if I had the space, I probably would have put it in this office. That was always my plan, and it is a bit tight in here, to be honest with you. As you can see, I think it would have dwarfed the room. But the problem is I just wasn't using it. And I'd got to the point where I'd having fun with it. I have good memories of it. I made a cool video that I can always look back and watch. It didn't go wrong. I mean, I had, what did I have going? I had a thermostat, and I just replaced the head gaskets, which on an RS250 is not a difficult job at all. It is really straightforward. And it was fault-free, really fault-free. I mean, I paid 2,800 quid for it back in 2015, 2014, and I sold it this summer for £8,000. So, like, there is no doubt they are going to continue to rise. And I knew that when I bought it, because I don't make two strokes anymore. Do you know what I mean? Especially like that. And I think in 5 years' time, there'll be 15 grand plus. But I was at that point, I had my fun. I've got other bikes, other things in the collection. it seemed like the right time to let it go to free up some space because it was tight in the garage. I couldn't work on anything without moving anything out. And yeah, so said goodbye. Now just have the memories, obviously, to live with on those videos that I made a couple of years back. So yeah, she's gone, left the fleet, but like I say, deep down, not really too bothered. It was a bit of a sad day handing it over to the collection driver. I did think, oh, am I making a mistake? But one of those things, I'm sure I'll look back in 10 years' time and regret it massively. The KTM RC8R Akrapovic edition. Well, in that release video, when I did the review, I told you a lot that I had big plans for it. Rottweiler intake, I was going to do, what else did I say I was going to do? Something else I was going to do. But it was meant to be an evolving project for the channel, and I love riding the bike. It's got plenty of power. Like with that Evo 4-pack, 180 brake and 100 foot-pounds of torque without any assist. Do you know what? Every time I was out on it, I never thought, do you know what? This could do with a little bit more power. At some points, I wished it had the power, but a little less torque because it just wants to pick the front wheel up constantly. And you know, it's just a wicked bike to ride. And with it being only one of 100 made worldwide, with it being the limited edition Akrapovic edition with the plaque on the headstock and everything, I thought, you know what? This ain't the bike to pull apart or tinker with. It's got under 10,000 miles on it. It's got 2 previous owners. Like, enjoy it. Like I said, I'd love to take it to Portimao because then I could actually use all that power comfortably on track. But I don't know. I think for me, that is a cool bike to look at. And when I'm in the mood for it, awesome to take out, even if I put limited mileage on it. So yeah, unfortunately, guys, again, I hope to do big things with it. And I hope you can see the logic in that. Is it just doesn't make sense to cut it apart, remap it, put an airbox on it, when they are just, I mean, the RC8R now is just like, they've gone crazy money, let alone the Akrapovic edition. So gonna leave that stock, but I will do some more riding on that bike, that's for sure. The 2006 GSXR 600 K6. My God, have I had this bike sometime. I did not think I would own a bike for 8+ years and still go out and enjoy it. Like, don't get me wrong, I own other bikes that are more fun in some aspects. It is, I don't know, a Gixxer's never going to be like an Italian exotic. It's not going to set your world on fire, but it is just good fun and it does it every time and it never ever complains about it. That bike has been, I mean, I had a generator fail on it, but other than that, like, it has been flawless for the time I've had it. And I'm at that point where, as I mentioned, I want to go to the Nürburgring on a bike. The risk of throwing something expensive round the track and it going wrong is a bit of a concerning thought. So at least with the Gixxer, they're what, 3.5, 4 grand bike. It's a lot cheaper than the others I've got in the collection. So my thoughts are get it fully serviced. I've had a recent issue. I think it's actually to do with the fast idle. When I was looking online, you fire it up, it runs for about 15 seconds, comes off the cold start, and then it gets really low to the point where it occasionally stalls. So I need to address that, do a full service on it. Apparently now it's track regulation that on your brake lever on the right, you need like a guard so that if you bump into someone, it doesn't pull the brakes on. Apparently this is something new. That's how long I've been out of the track scene with bikes that you've got to fit. So we're going to put one of those on. And like I say, just give it a good general going over and make sure it is ready for the mighty green hell come April, May time. So yeah, pretty excited to go there. And like I say, it'll be good fun to go on my trusty Gixxer as well. Well, Ducati 748 SP, finally pulled my finger out. I was actually working on it all day yesterday. It is running. I'll put a clip in now. But shortly after I fired it up, I did notice that I had a strong smell of petrol, and then I looked underneath, there's a little puddle pooling, O-rings perished on the fuel tank, but that'll all be detailed in the next video, which should be out later this week. I was actually working on it all day yesterday, but it is now semi back apart again to change these O-rings over on the fuel tank. And do you know what? It is a cool bike. Hearing it fire up again, even though, like I said, it was only for a little while, I was like, man, this thing, it just brings back good memories. That genuinely is the most uncomfortable bike I've ever owned. But you get it on a nice winding road and it is just superb. Absolutely superb. So yes, there will be more 748 content. It will be back out on the road this year. I'm not sure how much mileage I'm going to do. I'm sure there'll be more teething problems of a bike from 1996. But it is underway, and like I say, there'll be plenty more coming from that bike this year. So that pretty much wraps up the video, guys. Thank you very much for everyone that subscribed, liked, supported the channel the last couple of years. It really means a lot. I'm hoping that I can really hit it this year coming, really do. But like I say, it's one of those things. We've had so many setbacks, general life, work, this whole COVID thing, it's just been manic. But if you enjoyed the video, again, thank you, and hope you all have a happy new year, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.